Today we're going to be talking about a new text structure. We learned about cause and effect last time, and today we're going to be learning about compare and contrast. So when talking about text structures, can anyone guess or have an idea of what it might mean to when we think about comparing something? We're talking about compare and contrast. Yeah, so you might be looking at least two different things, right? Okay, maybe.
You're finding out like the differences and the similarities between the two things.
Perfect. So when we compare, and we're talking about compare and contrast text structures, we want to look at what they have in common. So that's what we're focusing on when we compare something, what they have in common, what they're similar. So when we contrast, does anybody have an idea, knowing what compare is, what contrast might be? What are we looking for? Lorelai. Okay, that was compare. What do you think contrast might be? I think the opposite. April. Yep. So contrast is going to be finding the differences. So now that we have that definition in mind, we can look at our text structure keyword charts, and we kind of have a description that we need to fill in some blanks for. So it says the author looks at blank and blank of two ideas. So we can fill in the first blank with the word similarities. So everybody fill that in. Similarities. Your text structure one. I have an extra one. So our first blank is going to be similarities. Can somebody tell me what they think our second blank is going to be? Lorelai. Perfect, I saw you writing it, I knew you had it. So we have differences for our next blank. So everyone write in differences. Okay, now can I get a volunteer to read our full definition now that we have the blanks? Jared.
Two things are more to another, and seeing the differences and similarities.
Perfect. So we have the definition. The author looks at similarities and differences of two ideas. So now that we filled in our blank, how do we compare and contrast? We're going to learn how to do that. So we can compare and contrast using something that looks kind of like this. Have you guys seen this before?
Yeah.
Do we know what it's called? It's okay if you don't.
I don't.
Okay, let's go with Enzo. Venn diagram, perfect. So a Venn diagram is a type of graphic organizer that we can use and has like overlapping circles, right? And in the middle, we're gonna write what two things have in common. So we're gonna compare them. And then on the outside, we're gonna write what one thing just has and then what the other thing just has. So what they don't have in common, right? So I want to do this one together. I'm going to pass one out to everybody. And you guys can keep this as a resource for you guys. And we're starting off easy. We're not going to use any words. We're just going to use pictures and what we already know to compare and contrast penguins and chickens. So I'll start us off. When I think about what's similar between penguins and chickens, I might think that they both have wings. So I'm going to write that in the middle because that's what they have in common. And then let me think of a difference that only penguins have. Penguins like the cold, right? So I'm going to write cold.
Not all penguins.
Not all penguins, I think. These penguins right here in the snow like the cold. Let's write our difference. I think chickens, they live on a farm. So I'm gonna write farm because I've never seen penguins on a farm before. That'd be crazy to have penguins. Can somebody now tell me either a similarity or a difference and tell me where it should go? Wesley.
I have a similarity. It's they both can't fly.
They can't fly. Good one. So where do we put that if it's a similarity? Yep, in the middle. Okay, so they can't fly. That's kind of funny. They both have wings, but they both can't fly also. Lorelei, similarity or difference? They're both birds. That's a good one. Okay, so where does that one go? In the middle, right? So we can write birds in the middle. Okay, no more similarities. We did all of them. Does anybody have a difference? Let's go with Levi.
Chickens can fly. They can fly.
Oh, that's true. So they can't fly, but they can glide. So let's write glide for our chicken side. Penguins can slide. Penguins can slide. That rhymes. I like our rhyming. Wesley.
Penguins are very good at swimming.
Yes, penguins can definitely swim, and chickens cannot swim very well. Okay, last one. Who wants to be our lucky last one? Okay, let's go with Jared.
Penguins are usually
Okay, so they can be pets. That's true. I don't think, especially in Arizona, we can have a pet penguin.
Actually, the zoo penguins kind of count as
But we can have them. Okay, so that is an example of how we can create a Venn diagram with pictures. And when we are looking at text structures, there's some keywords, right, that we can look for to know if it's a compare or contrast statement. So here they are. You guys can write these down. We'll do them next time. We can write them down. But for now, let's just read them all out loud together. So let's read our compare side together. 1, 2, 3.
Same, the same as, similar, similarity, also, to, as well as, likewise, also.
Also is on there twice, but but both. Okay. And then let's read our contrast side.
But, however, while, on the other hand, different, difference, differently, like, although, even though.
So these are words that are commonly seen with compare and contrast text structures. So we can kind of keep these in our mind when we're looking at text. But just to give you guys an example of how we can use them or how we might see them, I'm going to go back to our little Venn diagram and I'm going to look at, let's look at the compare, so what they have in common. So we know that they both have wings, so I can use one of our compare words and say, penguins and chickens both have wings. Or contrast, we know that they both that only chickens live on farms, right? So we can say, chickens live on farms, however, penguins do not. Yeah, well, on the other hand, penguins do not. So we can kind of see how those can work. Can someone, let's take 2 volunteers. I want somebody to use a sentence using one of our keywords in our Venn diagram. Ooh, you guys are all volunteering. April, do you want to? You change your mind? That's okay. Okay, Wesley, do you want to go?
Penguins live in the cold while chickens don't.
Okay, and is that a compare or a contrast?
Contrast.
Perfect. And so,
Video games are on a computer, however, board games are not.
okay, that's a good statement. A creative one. It's not about penguins or chickens, but it's a creative one. One more about penguins and chickens, Levi.
penguins like to fly, but on the other hand, chickens like to fly.
Perfect. Good sentence. Okay, so that's how we can see it with pictures, but we can also see it through text, right? So we're going to pass out these articles to you guys, and we're going to go through it together and do a compare and a contrast. Kind of like analyze it. So, I will read the first sentence out loud. Bottlenose dolphins and orcas, killer whales, belong to the same family and are both marine mammals. They have blowholes located on the tops of their heads which allow them to breathe. Both tend to live and hunt in groups. They are carnivores and feed on fish and squid. They help one another target schools of fish in order to hunt their prey. By traveling in pods, they also have a greater chance at surviving attacks from predators. So, while I was reading, I noticed some of these signal words, some of these keywords that we were talking about. So, just in that first sentence, I noticed the word same. So, everybody highlight same in the first sentence. It kind of helps us. And then I also noticed the word both, just a few sentences down, like actually just one more sentence down. Just get a sentence and then we see both, everyone highlight both. And then I also noticed in our very last sentence the word also. So I want you guys to highlight also. Okay. Now, since I noticed that all those keywords are going to be on our comparing side, I know that these are probably all going to be things that they have in common, right? Because we're using comparing words. So I'm going to use a green color to mark our similarities. And I'm going to read those sentences again. Bottlenose dolphins and orcas belong to the same family and are both, there's another one, marine mammals. So I'm going to underline same family and both marine mammals. Let's go ahead and highlight that both also.
And another boat.
Okay. And then I'm going to go to my next highlighted word. I'm going to see they both tend to live and hunt in groups. So we can underline that too.
They're both carnivorous.
Okay. And then they also have a greater chance at surviving attacks from predators. So, I can now fill out my Venn diagram. So I'm going to write, because I want to write in complete sentences, that they are from the same family. And they are marine mammals. So we can fill that in. Okay, can someone tell me what is another similarity that we just found just in that first paragraph? And
They both tend to live in hunting groups.
perfect. So we can add that right to the similarities as well. So they both live and hunt in groups. Okay, and then what's the last one that we see? More last. Okay, perfect. They have a greater chance of surviving attacks from predators. So let's add that in to our similarities. So now that you guys kind of get an idea of what we're doing, I want you guys with a partner to see if you can find some similarities or differences and highlight our keywords that you guys find while doing it. And I want you guys to read the next 2 paragraphs and at least find one similarity or difference. So talk to your partner next to you. So we'll have you 2 working together. Lorelai, April, Wesley, Carter, and Jared, Dakota working together. So you're gonna read the next 2 paragraphs, and I want you to highlight the keyword that you guys found and find one difference that you see. See if you can find one difference and underline it in a different color to mark a difference, okay? So don't use, for example, I used green for my similarity, so I wouldn't use green this time. I would maybe use red because we're gonna find a difference this time, okay? Okay, work with the person next to you. Yeah, so do what I just modeled, okay? Like if you see a keyword, you can highlight it and then underline a similarity or difference that you guys found.
Whales communicate with each other by making high-pitched lists or whistle sounds. Unlike the whales, bottlenose dolphins are gray in color and can be found in the tropics.
We can find keyword.
Okay, very last paragraph.
Shallow water then foreground
Both dolphins, both, wait, that's one. They both face threats.
150 pounds.
Unlike this one, so these are gonna be all of them, right? What about that as well? So
Next paragraph, finding about bottlenose dolphins.
these are just some ideas to get us thinking about maybe what these keywords might look like, what they could sound like, and unlike is definitely one of them. Okay, give me a thumbs up when you guys feel like you found at least one.
Yeah. We should
It's okay, take your time.
we should only miss one.
Good, I'm glad. Okay, so what is a keyword that you guys noticed? A new keyword, Wesley. Unlike, perfect. So did everyone highlight unlike? And it's going to be in that 3rd paragraph, the very first word. Okay, so from that sentence, what did you learn, Wesley?
What happened on April 14th?
So let's read it. Unlike the whale, bottlenose dolphins are gray in color. So what did we learn about dolphins that aren't the same as whales?
The orcas are like, it says that their backs are black, and it says that the dolphins are gray.
Okay, perfect. So on a Venn diagram, we have to label one side dolphins. So let's label one side dolphins. And let's label the other side orcas or whales. It's the same thing. And Wesley told us that he noticed that dolphins are gray, so we can write that. Dolphins are gray. And orcas said orcas were black.
And an eraser.
Okay, orcas are gray and dolphins are black. Did anybody notice anything else? Yes, dolphins. You said, oh, I'm sorry. Yes, good catch. Dolphins are gray and orcas are black. Dakota.
Dolphins are black.
It's perfect. So Dakota noticed.
I did.
I guess this team noticed. On the other hand, is a keyword, so we can go ahead and highlight that. So let's highlight on the other hand. And I'll highlight unlike as well. Okay. So let's read the sentence. On the other hand, whales' biggest threat to survive is pollution. So what's the difference that we learned there?
That dolphins face climate change, orcas face pollution.
Good job. So we learned that on the orca side, you could say their biggest threat is pollution. Okay, their biggest threat is pollution. So we're gonna write that on this side. Okay. And did anybody notice any other ones? Did anybody notice maybe the first sentence of our last paragraph? Enzo, did you notice?
Oh, both dolphins and orcas face most of their
Both. Okay, perfect. Both. So let's highlight the word both. So that's another, what is that one? What is both a similarity or a difference indicator? Similarity. Okay, so under here we can write that they face threats to survival. Okay, perfect. So your Venn diagram should look a little something like this with all our information filled out. And just for a little evaluation to make sure that you guys were able to learn from this, I want you guys to, do you remember your packets that you guys had about the pandas, the small one? Yes, this one that Lorelai has. So I want you guys, it's okay because we won't do this right now. I want you guys to do this on your own time and turn it in to me later. It's kind of like a little assignment for you guys, okay? No, just do the compare and contrast one. It's going to be the more than a name one, this one right here. And fill out the compare and contrast Venn diagram, okay? And you're going to follow the same steps, looking for our keywords and underlining our similarities and differences, okay? Yeah, of course. Just do it on your own time. We're not going to film that part, but whenever you guys are ready, okay? All right. Thank you, guys. That was the end of